Okay, this is a short video. This actually will be a shorter one on mission 5 and 6. I'm going to condense these two together. I'm going to get you to do less of the fewer of the interactives unless you find some of these subjects really interesting. But right now, you should have some quite good skills in building phylogenetic trees when you are given information, both DNA genetic and physical characteristics, or um, reproduction also is another one that you've kind of investigated in. Okay, so in mission 5, you can watch the video here, but this one is it's got interactives that are really the same idea that you've been doing. There's one that's called hosting flukes for dinner. You do not need to do that one. It really talked about how a parasite, these blood flukes are parasites, can evolve with their host. Okay, so you could investigate that if you wanted to, but I'm not requiring you to do that. The big one for here is fatal fangs. It's interactive number 2. Now here's the problem. When you go into, I've already played all these games, so when you go into these, you may not be able to go to fatal fangs because you haven't completed hosting blood flukes for dinner. So you may have to go into this and just quickly play it to be able to move on. So I believe that will be an issue, but you can, again, you don't have to make notes on it. You can just play the game, complete the pieces, spend 5-10 minutes on it, and then move to fatal fangs because that's the one that we're um, really interested in here. So this one is really cool because you have to solve a problem of an unknown snake here is someone, Tyler, they use the name Tyler, has been bit by the snake, and they want to know what antivenom to use. And you're going to choose the antivenom to the snake that is the closest in relation to the unknown snake. So, in order to figure out that um, connection, you need to build your evolutionary phylogenetic tree. So there's multiple snakes. This is creepy because I'm not a big snake fan, but it is really interesting. So you're going to write detailed notes on these as far as the antivenom goes. So you're making a table, black whip snake. Um, if you get bit by this snake, you're treated with antivenom A. Okay, that's for the first uh, snake. And then the next snake, you'll start seeing that we have some characteristics that are added that you're very familiar with doing this. Has a gap between its fangs, so you have to record that down. But you get treated with antivenom B if you get bit with this snake. So then the next one, again, we have two characteristics here that I want you to record. But this, the king brown snake, you're treated with antivenom C. And then we've got the tapered snake has a gap between its fangs. Record that, and you get treated with antivenom B for this snake, and you get the idea, etc., etc. Okay, and then you get the unknown, but they do have some characteristics. You just don't know what antivenom you would be treated with if you got bit by the snake. So they have the genetic code for the specific positions that are significant in building your phylogenetic tree. Clearly, I'll emphasize how much this has been simplified. It's much more complex when we're looking at DNA and the code, but this sure gets the idea across. So I see outgroup is the black whip snake. I love when they start with those, and I've always been putting my black whip my outgroup, sorry, to the right. So I'm going to just start, whoops, already got that messed up. Okay, I'm going to leave that. Okay, so I'm not going to do this for you because it's really quite fun. So you only have four um, characteristics that you're looking at. I should say there's physical characteristics, but two of them are genetic similarities and differences that exist within these. So you're going to complete this one, and then at the end, it's going to say what anti-venom would you um, give to Tyler in this case. Uh, which other snake is closest to that species? So it's quite fun, and I hope you enjoy that one. So that's it for actually the major parts of Mission 5. But then again, it's probably going to stop you and not going to allow you to play through. So I want you to go to the third interactive, which is dealing with actually HIV. And if you've studied HIV, nasty, nasty virus, and you can read about it and how scientists figured that HIV came from a different species than us. And I'm not going to tell you which one because you actually could go through and do, actually, I'll tell you. The chimpanzee, what they're talking about, the chimpanzee um, being the one that they figure um, humans contracted HIV, and which leads to AIDS. So it's really, really interesting, but I'm not requiring you to do this. But if you love this, I mean, don't ever stop learning because it's not part of an assignment. But you go through and it tells you information about the virus and the different species that have the virus and the different locations for it. Okay. And then at the end, they do a DNA positions for all the organisms that can contract or carry HIV. So when you go to building your phylogenetic tree, they were nice enough to tell us that the chimp SIV TAN1, sometimes the language, is going to be our outgroup. So I know that everything else is connected to, okay, to the rest, all these guys are connected somehow. And then you have to go through with your positions and drag them in. It takes a little bit of time. If you're tired, I find these harder to do, but you will probably like have to go through this. But what I want you to know at the end is uh, that the virus was transferred um, from chimpanzees, and it's been a deadly virus for humans. Okay? So that's the focus for Mission 5. And Mission 6, we're looking, eventually, we're going to get to the evolution of humans, which is a really cool part. But the interactive, again, there's three interactives, and it may delay you if or it may stop you if you don't go through and do them. But we're doing the same idea here. That's why I didn't work on this or want you to go through this too much, because you should be pretty good at building phylogenetic trees with um, DNA. Okay, where are the DNA positions? So I can put my little DNA chart up here, and then I can figure out where these organisms go. Again, you may have to do this if you're not able to skip through. Okay, so this was the really about the genetic connection between the human, chimp, gorilla, and orangutan. Very interesting. Oops. So the big one that I want you to do here is interactive 2, which is um, back to skull. So very, very cool stuff. And we're heading into the evolution of humans. And so, yes, there's some skulls here, but then we're getting into these tables that we should be familiar with. You're going to record the characteristics of um, these different species that humans evolved from. Okay, so they're skeletons because these are not living right now. So they go through and then they do a chimpanzee. This one is living. A Homo erectus, not living, but it talks about brain size, canine teeth, vertical face, forward facing eyes, all these characteristics that help in categorizing or building a tree for these different organisms. Okay, and when you're done, you're going to look at these characteristics and then you're going to build your phylogenetic tree. So I want you to build the phylogenetic tree for this one. And most importantly is that you've generated your table from this information. So make sure you make this table because I will be drawing on some questions relating to these species and their characteristics that they have. Okay, so that's really, really important. And then you want to finish off with drawing the tree and sketching a picture. And this is the main one I want you to look at. The last one, Inside Out of Africa, is Evolution of Human Species and the Location. This is just a great read. And if you're interested in this kind of stuff, when you're reading through and you're looking at um, uh, evolution of humans and the location, you would want to get into something like anthropology or paleoanthropology is what that's about. So very interesting, very cool read here if you wanted to do that, but I am not requiring you to complete this interactive. They do talk about the percent of DNA that's similar, and they do talk about Neanderthals. That becomes important at the end, and they keep going through with different locations and the type of species they were able to find. And then they can create kind of a DNA map. So we put our DNA map up, and then you can start building um, your phylogenetic tree. Again, this is the very last one, so you may not have to, because um, you're done with the missions, and you don't have to worry about doing another mission, so you don't even need to do that. So really, I'm after two fatal fangs from mission 5, and I'm after back to skull in mission 6. So that one we can kind of condense into certainly a shorter amount of time. Okay, and then you're prepared to move on to the final assignment where you're going to build your own evolutionary tree or phylogenetic tree. Okay, that's it.